everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for part 3 of working willfully with workflows. All right, today we're actually going to be going over applying the actual workflows into the Redtail CRM. And so, what we did last week and the week before was we whiteboarded out our a process essentially for an onboarding a prospect, and then we actually built it as a template inside of the Redtail CRM. So again, one of the first things we want to do to the applying part of it is make sure that those templates are going to be ready to be used. So what we're going to be using is already built. And so double check that. I'm going to go to my name in the top right hand corner. I'm going to choose manage your account. And then once I'm on this page, I'm going to go down to the section where it says manage templates. And below the manage template section, I have workflow templates right here. And so again, the one that we worked on last week in part 2 was the onboarding prospects right here. And one thing we want to make sure is that the status itself is active. So a lot of the times when you're building out those processes, you're going to make them under construction so no one can use them yet. So you'll see that I have one here that is under construction. If you need to change that status, what you're going to do is go on this workflows template page, go to the action button to the left-hand side of the workflow template, and then choose edit. Once you click on edit, you're going to see you have the drop down for the status. And if it's under construction or inactive, you can then make it active. And what that allows is for us to actually use the workflow template that we created in our actual CRM and live. So we go back to the today page. Now that we know for sure that our template is live and active, we actually want to start one. So there's different ways to start your workflows. First off, you can always go down to on your left navigation menu and click on the workflows. This will take you to the main workflows page. What this page does is shows you every single workflow that is currently happening in your database right now. So it's not really showing you ones that haven't started. It's not showing you the ones completed unless you choose to hit the complete button over here, which it will. It's showing you all of the active workflows that are currently happening. And what you'll notice is in the top right-hand corner, I do have the option for new workflow. And you can click on that. And then the first option says workflow template, and it defaults to create with no template. And we'll get into creating workflows with no templates after we go through this first one. But what you'll see is we also have our list of available workflows. And so the one we're doing today is the onboarding prospects. I can select it. And it shows the template here. It also shows the name of the workflow is the same as the template name. Now, when starting a workflow, you can actually change the name or edit it however you want. So for instance, I know a lot of people like to put the contact's name here just for organizational purposes, or you can even just change it for maybe like put a date on there or maybe an account number, something to help you like organize and sort if you want to change the name of it. Personally, I like to leave the name of the workflow the same as the template. That's just so I can keep everything really organized because I also have a spot for the contact name right here. So for instance, if we were going to link up, we'll do Cameron Fry today. I can search for the contact's name by last name or first name, and I'll click on the actual contact. And so this is the prospect that we're going to be taking through this process. I attach him. So it's very important that you attach a contact record if the process is about that contact, because I want to make sure that he is going to be attached. And when I go into their record, I will see everything that needs to be for that contact. Now, in the workflow template, you would have had the option to choose who the owner and category is anytime the template is used. So for instance, this one automatically categorizes as onboarding meeting. If there is an owner selected, it will automatically select that person as the owner. If you want to override either of these at this time before you start the workflow, you can definitely do so. And so all you have to do is choose who you want it to be, the user or the team, and then which category you want to change it to. Now, right here is the target date. This is when I choose when is the important date of our workflow. So again, we talked about this in last week's where the target date is going to be the meeting day of this workflow process. Let's say that we actually scheduled a meeting with Cameron for his prospecting meeting next week on the 30th. Or sorry, let's do the 31st. So I can select the 31st as the target date. That's going to help me automatically set all of my due dates for my steps and tasks now that I'm going to start this workflow. You also notice that I do have a description. You can add information to the description if you want. If you had information in the description of the template, it'll automatically be filled out here as well. Now from this page, all I have to do is just hit create new workflow, and it automatically adds it to my first page here that we were just on. So you'll see the webinar onboarding prospects right here attached to Cameron Fry. I can now click on it and it takes me into the actual workflow itself, and I can see all of our different steps and tasks. I'm going to take one step back and click on workflows again on the left navigation menu. And one thing I do want to point out from this page, so when using this page, it's more for a high overview of what needs to get done. And so you'll notice that we have all the different columns here, and we have current step due, target date, estimated completion date. The current step due, I think, is very important because I can actually sort this and see what needs to get done first. Are we behind on anything? Are we ahead of all of our processes? It's showing me what needs to get done. And so you actually see I have certain things that were due. This one was due on the 7th, so that was due on the 7th. We're still on the prep for review meeting step. This is a red flag, essentially. It pops up and it's like, you know what? We are behind on this process. We need to jump in here and see what's going on. All right, same thing in regards to the target date. So you can sort by those and also see when you're expecting to complete this workflow process. All right, so again, we're going to jump back into the one we're working on, this webinar onboarding prospects for Cameron. And I'm going to see those same important dates. So up here in the top, I have the target date. So that I can change that at any time if I need to by just clicking on that date. And it pops up this page, and I can change the target date. So if they reschedule and I change it on my calendar, I'm going to want to make sure and jump in here and also change the target date so all of my dates adjust as well. And those dates that are showing that are adjusted based off of the target date are on the step level. And so, for instance, for my preparation step, it says due by the 30th. In our template, we set that up to be due one day before the target date. And so it gives me all these individual tasks assigned to Teddy and Tabitha right here, all due on the 30th. Now that we can see we have those individual tasks, and again, remember, the workflow process works one step at a time. So I'm working on step 1, and I have 3 tasks that are available to complete. 2 of them are assigned to Teddy, 1 of them is assigned to Tabitha. So as you go through, you can go into this page, and let's say that Teddy actually goes in and edits the PowerPoint presentation. They can go in and hit complete, and it marks the status of this task now as completed. Same thing goes here for prep new client paperwork. Tabitha completes that. We can hit the complete button. And then finally, the last task, we're going to call and confirm the meeting with the prospect. So as soon as this task gets accomplished, we hit complete. That's when our outcomes are going to show up. And essentially what this is asking is what happened during this step? And because we added these outcomes in our template, you have full control over what they say. So when you spoke with the client, they either canceled, confirmed, or rescheduled. Now, let's say, for instance, that they did reschedule. In this case, what I would want to do is choose meeting rescheduled. And you'll see it pushes to preparation. It's going to repeat the step that we were just on. The step notes right here are used specifically for anything that happens about the process. And so this isn't where you're going to put meeting notes or things about the actual prospect onboarding. These are strictly going to be about the process and what's happening in regards to those outcomes. And so in this case, I can say, spoke with Cameron, needs to reset meeting for following week. You can put that in, and I'm going to complete the step. And what you're going to notice is it's going to reopen everything in step 1. All right. So we already put that we need to reschedule the meeting. And so we would go in and change it on the calendar, but also come in here and go up to our target date, click on that, and then change the target date for the new date of the meeting. So it's very important that we update the target date, because as soon as we do this, let's say we move the meeting to the 6th. So I'm going to now select June 6th and update the workflow. What it now does is updates all of my individual tasks. So now step 1 is due on the 5th of June. All right, and now we can make sure that Teddy's going to get another task, and so is Tabitha for the paperwork and the PowerPoint presentation. Now, again, let's say we know all these tasks have already been done. You don't always have to go and hit each task completed. Let's say I want to complete all of them at the same time. So we're going to jump forward, and it's the 5th of June, and we're going to call Teddy, we're going to call Cameron and confirm that again. And I'm going to hit complete step. The complete step button is going to complete every single open task in that current step at that time. And so now we can say that we called Cameron, and let's say that he confirmed. So meeting confirmed. This one now pushes to day of meeting. All right, we can say spoke with Cameron. Will be in tomorrow. There we go. And I complete that. As soon as I choose that outcome and hit complete step, it then pushes forward to now the day of meeting. And this one itself is due on the 6th. So in our template, we set that the second step, the day of meeting, was the same day as the target date. So up here, so that actually matches. Right here, we're going to see confirm client paperwork is assigned to Tabitha. Prepare the conference room is assigned to Teddy. Now, let's say that maybe Teddy couldn't make it in, and he needs to reassign his tasks. So that can easily be done by going over to the action button of the individual task and just choosing reassign/do. And it'll pop up here and give me a list of available users. And so let's say he's just going to reassign it to Tucker, and we can update that task. So once the tasks are actually, even if they're in the template, on the fly, you can actually change those assignments if you need to. So they're not actually set for that particular user no matter what. They're going to be there until we actually complete them and it moves on to the next step, or if we reassign them to somebody else to make sure that everything gets accomplished. Now from here, we can also see that, Tabitha can complete the paperwork, so she can complete that. We'll hit that button, and then Tucker can come in here and prep the conference room. Now, this actually takes me to my next point of where's the best place to work with your tasks on a day-to-day. Now, that necessarily is not going to be clicking on workflows here on the left-hand side. So again, this page, where I click on the left navigation menu for workflows, is a high-level overview of all of your workflows that are currently happening. This is not the best place to come in and open up all of your workflows and see, do I have any tasks? Do I have any tasks? I would have to open up each one to see if I have any tasks that I need to complete for each of these processes. And that's going to be a waste of time. So what we've made is on the Today page, when you first log in, I'm going to always suggest that you come over here to the top right-hand corner and click on this button that says Active Workflow Tasks. And when you click on that, it takes you to a page that just lists the individual tasks that are assigned to you and for the day that they're due. All right, so right here, you'll see that I have tasks that are due on the 7th, some that are the 27th, and it's the order that they're due in. All the way down to here, you'll see that I have the webinar onboarding prospects right here for Cameron Fry is due on the 6th. So it lists that one task that was assigned to Tucker, because that's who I'm logged in as, on this list. Now, let's say that we prep the conference room. We can go in there. And one thing I also want to point out is you can click on any of these and it'll take you straight to the workflow itself if you want to go back to this page. I normally myself like to stay on this main task page just so I can see everything that needs to get accomplished. This is also a great place to always have open. So like on a Monday, you can look to see if there are any tasks that happen to be automatically scheduled on a Saturday or a Sunday, or on Friday afternoon. You're going to look forward, is there anything that's due tomorrow or Sunday that I need to get accomplished now so I don't have to worry about it on Monday? So that's what's great about this page. And so we're going to scroll back down a little bit here to the Cameron Fry one right here. And let's say that we prepped the conference room. I'm going to hit complete. And because that was the last task that was available for this actual open step, it brings up my outcomes again. And so now again, I have meeting canceled, meeting complete, or meeting rescheduled. And let's say the meeting was complete. We can put in, say meeting done. Not too wordy here. But putting in notes about things that happen in the process is important if you want to have that audit trail. So again, this isn't going to be the meeting notes itself. This is just the notes about the actual completion of the meeting if needed. And so you can actually just keep it simple like that if you need to. But if you need to add more information, you can do that as well. So now that we did that, it actually takes us, and you'll see that there's no more tasks for Cameron Fry that I have for a contact that are assigned to Tucker. But I can always go over to the left-hand side and click on workflows again. And then over here, we'll see the webinar onboarding prospects for Cameron is on the follow-up step now. And I can open that up. And then from here, you'll see that we have those 4 tasks that are the final follow-up tasks for this actual process. And so again, the processes you want to create are the same repeatable things that happen every single time you do a prospect onboarding or a client onboarding, maybe like an account renewal or even a client review. Every process that you can take and have that's repeatable and you need to know if certain things got done or not, this is the place that you really want to put those so you can stay on top of everything and nothing falls through the cracks. Now, in this case, I also like to point out, let's say during the meeting, an individual task popped up that was specific just to Cameron Fry, but not necessarily specific to every single onboarding prospect that you do. What's great about the workflows is you can add tasks on the fly without actually having to create like another activity on the calendar, or maybe you don't want to write it on a post-it note and forget something that happens. So when you go into the main workflow and you want to add a new individual task, you go to the step where you want it to be, you choose the action button, and then just click new task. And then it pops up and we have new task number 5. You can click on that, open it up, change the name of the task to whatever you want, and then choose who you want to assign it to. So you can easily come over here and say that, oh, we have a follow-up item that's particular just for Cameron Fry that I'm going to assign to Tucker. I can do that. One other thing I like to point out about the individual tasks is you'll see that the due date is set to the 7th of June. That's only based off of the due date for the target date. You do have the ability to click on this and override that date. Now, the only reason you want to do that is if maybe this individual task can be a little further out. But what this is saying is as soon as I change the date of the due date here, it delinks it from the target date. All right, so keep that in mind. If you manually change a due date on an individual task, it will delink this individual task from that target date. So if you change the target date, this date will not move with it after you change it manually. So, but this one, for instance, I want to keep due on the 7th, one day after the actual prospect onboarding. So I'm not going to change anything. Just going to hit update task, and you'll see the assign to changes and whatever you choose that new task to be. If, for instance, that you've added something or maybe one of these tasks isn't needed for this prospect and you don't need it on here, you don't want to hit complete because it's not something you are doing, you can even delete tasks on the fly as well. So I'm going to say, you know what, this task isn't needed for this particular person, so I'm going to delete it. Because if I mark it as complete, it's going to show that we did that task for that person. So this is one reason you could delete a task, is if it's not needed for just this one individual person. All right. And so as we go through, you can see you can click and we can do the complete. Also, when you hover over any of the task names, the actual description of the task will pop up. So you don't always have to just click on it to open it up to see the description. You can just easily hover over it and it pops up and you can see what that description is going to be. All right, so now as we go through, we can complete this one. Now I'm going to show you a few other places where these tasks are going to show in the database. One of them is going to be in the contact record as well. So I'm going to go up here to the top to search contacts, and we're just search for Fry. And then we're going to go straight to Cameron Fry right here, go into his contact record. Now, in his contact record, what you'll notice in the overview bar right up here, it says one active workflow. This will take me to the workflow page of this particular contact. I can also scroll all the way down on the main page and see the open workflow tasks. And you'll see that I only have 2 open workflow tasks because in step 3, the follow-up, the other 2 were already completed. And so as you complete them from here, we can hit complete and they fall off. And so there's no longer that task showing here because it's already been completed. If I want to click on and go up here to the overview bar and click on the one active workflows, this takes me to the individual workflow page of Cameron, like I said, and that's also accessed on the left navigation menu over here. You can click on more and scroll down and click on workflows. So this shows the one workflow that he's currently attached to that's active. If I come over here and hit complete, it'll show me any completed workflow I've ever done with this contact. And so since he's a prospect, I haven't I haven't done anything with him. But if once this one's completed, it'll show in this space as well. So really, in a perfect world, for each of your contacts, you're going to see maybe like an onboarding workflow, a client review workflow for every single year, an account opening workflow for every single account you open for them. So every single process you ever do for your contacts are going to show attached to their contact record here in their completed workflow section. And I can click back over into the active ones and see what needs to be done from here. Another place that your workflow tasks will show is going to be on the calendar page. So using my left navigation menu, I'm going to click on calendar. And then from here, I'm actually going to go to the next month because the task that we're working with is on the 7th of June. So I'm going to click forward to the next month. What you'll notice is all of these tasks right here are the actual tasks that are assigned to the contact I'm logged in as. So you'll notice here on the 7th, there's no actual task name, and it's all these that are in black that say "do" are the tasks that are just showing as all-day events on the calendar. If I come back over to my workflows and I reassign that to Tucker, I'll be able to see it on his calendar. So let's go and do that. Let's go and click on onboarding prospects, and we're going to reassign this last one, the set review dates, to Tucker. So since I'm not logged in as Tabitha, I won't see it. So I'm going to change it over here to Tucker and update that task. And now coming back over to the calendar, back on June here, you'll now see that set review date is on as an all-day task on the calendar. Now, just because it's showing on the calendar does not mean it's a calendar event. It's actually technically a reminder. It's showing the day that that task needs to be done. If you click on it, it takes you to the workflow directly. Now, if you don't want to see your workflow tasks on the calendar, all you have to do is go up to actions up here, and you can choose hide workflow tasks. And so now I'm just seeing the calendar events and maybe just other review dates as well. But if I actually do want to see those all-day events workflow tasks, go back to actions and click on show, and they will come back. And so again, since it's not an actual activity, when I click on it, it takes me directly to the workflow itself, and this is where I can hit complete. So actually, let's do that. I'm going to hit complete on this last task, and we'll do step outcome, and I'm going to say, follow-up complete. Put on our notes here, all done. And then hit step complete right there. And now I have a fully completed workflow. So up here at the top, it says 100% complete. From this same page, you'll see up here at the top, I have 4-step notes. If I click on that, you'll see every single note I've made in regards to the outcomes. All right, so this is showing me what happened. So I was on the preparation step. All right, needs to reset meeting. Then I was on the preparation step again, went to day of meeting. Then I went to follow-up. It shows me the order, the audit trail of everything that's happening in regards to my actual steps. I can even see the step notes individually over here. So I can click on those if I just want to see the 2. And it shows me the date and time for when those actually happened. So this is a great place to go in, and you can maybe see it's like, hey, we've rescheduled this meeting 13 times. Maybe we need to call it quits and just wait for them to reach out to us. Hopefully you haven't had anybody reschedule 13 times, but you get the gist. It's like you can see exactly what's happening on every single step. Even seeing these notes is going to be helpful if you ever need to readjust how your workflows are set up. So if something keeps going wrong and you're repeating certain things, that's going to give you an idea of what you might need to change in regards to your actual live workflows and those templates. And you can make those adjustments so you can do less work later on in regards to the upkeep of your workflows. Now, let's actually jump back over to the contact record, because what I want to show, I'm going to click on Cameron's name up here on the link contacts page. Clicking from here will take me to the actual workflows page of the contact record, and you'll see he no longer has an active workflow. If I click back on the complete button over here, you'll see it shows as a completed workflow. If I ever need to go in and see the individual steps and the step notes, I can click on it from here and still see that information. Another place a completed workflow will show is in the notes. So I'm going to click on notes on the left-hand side. And over here, right now, it's defaulting just to show the note types of regular notes. But I can choose the note types and then choose workflow summary right here. If I select that and hit apply, you'll see that an actual note gets made on the completion of the workflow. So it says the workflow of onboarding prospects was completed, shows me the day and time that it was completed over here. And you'll see all the information of when the target date was, when the due date, so the final day was, when it was actually completed, and then who was the final person that completed it. And so it gives you all of that information, and still you have access to click on this to see the actual step notes of what happened in regards to this workflow. All right, same thing goes for the completed workflows over here on the main page of workflows, left navigation menu over here. If you hit complete in the top right-hand corner, this will show you every single workflow that you've ever completed in the system. Now we have quite a few, so this will take a little bit of time. So depending on how often you're doing those, normally this page, when you click on it, it's not where you're going every single day, because if you're looking for an individual workflow, you're going to want to go into the contact itself. But if you want to see maybe what got completed today, this is where you can come over here and you can sort by completed on and see, okay, here's everything that was completed today. You see the process that's actually happening. Now, if you actually want to, we're going to go back to the live workflows. I mentioned you can do workflows without templates as well. So we did one all based off of a template that we created, a repeatable process. Let's say, for instance, that I just want to create a workflow on the fly, like a checklist. What I can do is choose new workflow right up here on the top right. I'm going to keep it as create with no template, and I can just choose my workflow name. And so we'll call this Tucker's to-do list. I can do that. I don't have to attach to a contact, but if I wanted to, I could. Maybe we'll select Tucker as the owner. And I'm not going to need a target date because I don't have any process that's based around a particular date. Or maybe like this is a to-do list. I just want to set it as a date of, I want this done by the 1st of June. It's not saying that all my tasks are going to be done because there's no template based around it. So maybe I'm just going to use this for the sorting purposes of what I want on my main page here. But target date is completely optional and normally only used if you actually have a template with due date set based off of the target date. And so from here, I'm going to create the new workflow. It automatically creates it for me on this page. So now I can see Tucker's to-do list right here. I can click on it, takes me directly inside, and it starts with one step. All right, there's one step, nothing really I can do other than come over here and choose new task. And so I can add individual tasks to this actual step on the fly. So this is a good maybe replacement for like Post-it notes. So instead of writing them down and maybe losing them on my desk or like sticking to the computer monitor, I can have my own individual to-do list and open up each task, change the name of it for what needs to get done with a description and assign it to myself for each of those. You can see on here, I can go through and hit assign to me, assign to me, assign to me, automatically assigns it to yourself, goes through there. This is just going to give you an easy way to get those tasks. And each of these individual tasks can have different due dates. So when I open this up, new task 1, I can say that this one I want to get done by the 29th. I can update that task. New task 2, I want to make sure and get done, we'll say by the 31st. Just because they're on the same step doesn't mean that the due dates have to be the same for every single task. It only really works that way when I have the template set up, just so I'm not having to manually choose the individual tasks for each of my workflows from there. That would be too much of a time waste. So in this case, if it's just something like a to-do list where I'm setting up individual due dates, I can do so in this same form. And once they're assigned to you, they will show up on that regular to-do list from the Today page of your workflow tasks that are active. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today for part 3 of Working Willfully with Workflows. If you have any questions, please contact our support team at 1-800-206-5030, or you can even email support@redtailtechnology.com. Thank you so much and have a great day.